Mike King Biz, the premier business media brand covering and connecting Central Virginia. It's home to Mike King Biz Radio, producer of On the Mic with Mike RVA, which airs on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3 FM, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Follow Mike King Biz for the best business-ish content in RV.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the Mike and Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. So this is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, The Choice 105.3, as well as International Business Growth Radio. You can follow me on all the social platforms, hashtag on the Mike with Mike RVA, as well as Mike King Biz. What we're doing is we're showcasing RVA in a different way. We're coming to you today. We're talking to Mr. Robert Branson. So everyone knows that I'm on radio and understand the power of it. This man is right there at the forefront of it. We always talk about how business can help society be better. I see what he's out there doing. We're talking digital divide and all things that media can help society be better. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk to someone in Richmond, Virginia, which is my home state. So
that's right. So shout out to all the folks up in the Northern Neck. See, I've learned a little bit. I've learned a little bit.
Thank you.
All right,
that's how I got my start. Was down in the Northern Neck on a little small radio station doing bicentennial messaging.
There you go. So I always say it's a business show. Tell folks who you are and what you do.
Yes, Mike. I'm the president and CEO of the Multicultural Media, Telecom, and Internet Council, MMTC for short, because I can't keep saying that whole name every time. We are an organization that's been around for 20 plus years. We fight for our people both in the broadcast spectrum. You know, we over the years we fought for more minorities to have ownership. We fought for EEO for stations. We've also fought, and right now we are very much fighting to close the digital divide. But by that I mean we are looking to try to make sure people have easy access to broadband in all their communities, so that the kids don't have to go to the parking lots at the local fast food joint to do their homework, so that people who want to apply for jobs can do it from their home and their home computer, and so people who need telehealth can have that available to them in rural communities and in the city. So that's where our main focus is these days. We have a program which we will be starting out running this year called Black Churches for Digital Equity, and that is what it is what it says. We are working with Black churches or faith leaders throughout the country, including Virginia, including DC. You mentioned Detroit, Michigan. We are there as well. We're working with some of the pastors there, and we will be spreading the word about how people can sign up to get the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is the $30 subsidy for people to be able to get broadband in their home. It's enough to get broadband because most of the major carriers have all decided to offer a plan at the $30 price point. It also will provide a subsidy for laptops. And so we're trying to get the word out. We looked at who we could work with to get the word out outside of people like yourself, and we do appreciate your helping us get the word out. But we thought that if we go to faith-based leaders in the community, they are the most trusted voices in the community. And so we want to make sure that they have the tools they need. We've encouraged them to talk to their congregations, and also though we've encouraged them to get themselves or other people onto the boards task force or whatever the state has set up to decide where all the billions of dollars of money for the infrastructure are going. In other words, in order to make sure you have your piece of the pie, you got to be at the table, or as they say in Hamilton, you got to be in a room where it happens. And we want our people to be in that room. So we're working with the faith-based leaders to make sure that when decisions are made about where they're going to spend dollars, that our communities have their share of those dollars.
So, ladies and gentlemen, listening to Mr. Robert Branson, MMTC is here joining on the mic with Mike. So we always question the power of broadband and connectivity and then the pandemic really showed us why it was needed. But you had said that there's a lot of times we think of rural areas. Touch on the idea that when you had said a lot of times inner city areas have broadband issues as well.
Yeah, well, I think most people focus, because you can see rural areas are spread out, and there is a lack of broadband in rural areas, but rural areas are not exclusively the ones who don't have the high speed or don't have the broadband in need. In many inner cities, they have not been built out the way other areas of the city have. Now I'm looking at oftentimes it's the poorer parts of the city. It's the parts of the city where you don't have a lot of other economic development. If there's no economic development there, you're probably not going to have a lot of broadband there. There are also, in the inner cities, you also have a lot of what we call MDUs, multiple dwelling units, or back home apartment complexes.
Right.
that they don't have access for whatever reason. It could be the landlord doesn't allow access. It could be it's too expensive to wire every apartment in the complex. And so someone had made that determination. So we also want to look at those areas, that may need it. Also, people are looking at other ways to wire or not use wires. In other words, one of the things we've been looking and toying with is the idea of fixed wireless to help out inner cities where you're not able to get a wired or fiber signal. Obviously, fiber optics to the home is the best and has the most flexibility, but it's also not the most realistic in every situation, which is why we've said at MMTC, we want every solution. We want everything that can possibly be used to help our communities be on the table. So if it's fixed wireless in a multi-dwelling unit, an apartment complex that will bring broadband there, we'll use that. If there are other technologies that are developed later on, we're willing to look at those. The key, though, is to make sure that our people have opportunity, because if a kid doesn't have the ability to go online during the pandemic, they weren't able to do their homework the way they wanted, and we saw from reports that the American kids didn't do as well during the pandemic. When they went on the standardized tests and things of that nature, to judge how well they had improved. So we've got to change that, and that's why MMTC is very much working with Black churches, and to let people know that they can get a subsidy. Let them know that they all they have to do is sign up for it, and they can basically get free internet service out there. And like I said, we're not alone. Most of the providers are doing it as well. We're also not alone in the sense that while we are focused right now on the Black community, there are Latinos, there are Asian Americans, there are Native Americans, all of whom are trying to do the same thing, trying to notify their communities and try to work with their communities. We also are working with the schools and libraries to get them wired up properly. And so we're working with that organization. In other words, we at MMTC will work with anyone that has the same goals and objectives that we have. And our goal is to close the digital divide as much as we can. As I told you earlier, the late Congressman John Lewis said, broadband is a civil rights issue of our era. And obviously, he's someone who knows a lot about
the
civil
fight.
rights.
Sorry, so on the mic with Mike King, Robert Branson, MMTC is here with us. So when I call the cable company, I call Comcast, I hear that notification that says, hey, you may be eligible for broadband assistance, right?
Yes.
And so talk to us, our listeners, about how you have that concept to the point where it's a concept and it's really cool and we need it, to the point where you get buy-in, so that when people call up their cable company or you're going to churches saying, hey, you need to be connected to the internet and this is how you make it happen. Talk to our listeners and explain a little bit about how that happened.
Yeah, well, what we did was, we've gone to the church, and I wish I could show you what I have. I have in my hand right here one of our church fans that we passed.
Everybody understand a church fan.
Huh? If you've been in a Black church, you know a church fan.
You know the church fan, because it's hot as I don't know what.
Exactly. So we had those, and on a church fan, we basically tell people, that you can receive this service at no cost if you qualify for the program, and then we provide an email address that they can go to and find out things, and we also provide where you can scan on your phone to be able to sign up. All the major carriers already know about the program. So all you have to do is go there and provide them, with the information. In other words, if you're on SNAP, if you're living in subsidized housing, exactly. You're part of the school lunch program for the kids. You're going to be eligible for the program, and it's. Now I wish I could say that the form is very easy to fill out. I'm not going to lie to you. I have one of my team members has a PhD. It took her over 15 minutes to fill out the form. So I'm not going, I got to keep it real, but it's worth taking the time to fill out the form and do it. And like I said, and if you already have broadband service, you can just tell them that you want to change the account over to this new form of broadband service. What you can't do though is, and you have to be careful though, if you have the broadband service at home, you can't then get it on your cell phone at the same price. You only get one per household. In other words, you can't double dip in a sense. You can't get $30 on both, the subsidy on both. So you sort of have to also be aware of that, what's going on there. But like I said, anybody who has issues or want to find out more, but you can also, you can go to our website, the Black Churches for Digital Equity website. You can go there and you can find out anything you need to know. So we have that set up, or you can just go easily to www.mmtconline.org, and there's a link there to the Black Churches program, and also some other information that may be helpful to you. Like I said, we also are planning this year. We're going to have a major sign-up day, probably sometime in the fall. You may ask, why are we waiting so long? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to be training people before that day. We're going to have experts coming in, talking to people, and letting them know things so we can be most successful. We're also trying to get the money together so that we can have on-site enough computers so people can sign up there, and have the right people there who can help advise them. So we don't want to go in this thing, halfway. We want to go in all the way. And the best way to do it all the way is not to rush it, take our time and make sure we cover everything. We're also hoping by that time that the FCC will have modified the form to make it a little easier for people. And so we'd like to have that happen as well. So.
One of Mike Robert Branson, MMTC, is here with us. So you had said it's one thing to have internet access, broadband. It's another to have the computer or the device to work it on. Explain to our listeners the importance of that, and really just the power of the digital information to equal the playing field.
You need, unfortunately, and like I said, and I love my cell phone. Don't get me wrong. I love using it because it has so much more capability than it used to. But there are still some gaps with the cell phone in terms of being able to fill out certain forms for a job. The cell phone doesn't do that as well these days. There are other websites that just are not equipped, outside of doing form, just not equipped for the cell phone. I think the cell phone companies and the trade association are working very hard to close that, but it's still there right now. That's why a laptop allows you to do a lot more work. Now you can do a laptop using wireless service too. And in fact, more and more as we're looking at telework, telehealth, and teleeducation, the wireless service is going to be quite important to being able to do that. And so, but a laptop, and there is a subsidy. In fact, I'm hoping this year that he will revise it. Senator Warnock, who just got reelected, I'm clapping my hands, by the way, in Georgia to be the senator. He had a bill last year on equipment to provide a subsidy for equipment. So hopefully he will resurrect that bill and try to push it through. I'm not sure what his success rate will be, but hopefully he can help push it because, and Mike, you probably know this already, it's a misnomer to think that that this issue, the subsidy issue, the broadband issue, is only a Black issue or inner city issue or anything of that nature. In fact, the majority of what is needed on broadband probably is in a lot of red states that where they need the service, and I'm not sure that people understand that as much. In other words, a lot of the same congressmen and senators who have been fighting against this, their people would use it and be more benefited by it. Like I said, I come from a small town, and I know my town is very red, but I also see what this could do for them. This could help them quite a bit down there. And I think I'm hoping that maybe some bipartisan. Our organization is nonpartisan, by the way. So I'm saying this out of love and nothing else. Is that I'm hoping that some of the folks in some of the states that are fighting this will recognize that this would help their people as much as it helped your people, my people, and all people. And that's why we need to get everybody on board, just to push, to have subsidies for equipment, to have subsidies for the internet. Because right now, there are a lot of people struggling out here. A lot of people struggling just to, put food on the table, to, pay for health care and things of that nature. So to some of them, this may be considered, something that they really can't afford to do. You got 3 or 4 kids, and you're trying to make sure they all go to school with clean clothes and food and like that. You may not be thinking about internet. You may not be thinking that you got to do this, but and for their future, they need it because they're gonna, in order to compete in the world, they're gonna need to be able to log online and get all that the internet can provide. If you're in a small town, the internet provides you access to the world.
That is true. MMTC, Robert Branson is here with us. So what's next up for your organization next 12 to 24 months?
Well, like I said, we're going to have a major ACP sign-on day. We're signing agreements with at least 10, probably more, faith leaders and our organizations to help spread the word throughout the country. We will continue to fight on the broadcast side. We're trying to find a way to provide access to capital so that we can have more minorities get access to radio and television stations to become owners. We will continue to fight for equal employment. We are very much encouraging the development of a procurement rule. Right now, there's a cable procurement rule which says basically cable operators need to go and look and find minority contractors. We're pushing that in all industries. In other words, it shouldn't just be cable, telecom companies, others, internet companies, all should be looking to work with minority contractors. Because we think, for example, we're building out the infrastructure right now, right? We're building this out, we're putting up new towers, we're putting up new cell sites, we're putting fiber in the ground to go to homes. Guess what? If the company that's helping you do that is in your community and looks like the people who will be buying it, the people are more likely to buy it. In other words, if I go down the street and say, "Hey, Mike's company is putting this fiber in the ground," that must be a good idea because you know what I mean. And so I'm going to buy. I'm going to subscribe to service. We're trying to tell the companies that it's in their economic interest to work with these smaller minority companies. And find ways to open it up. And many are listening. I've talked to some of the more major companies out there, and they've come back to me and asked for ideas. The chairman of MMTC, Ron Johnson, actually owns a contracting firm, and he has friends in the business, and he's helped me sort of provide them with minority contractors. You know the old saying go, "I can't find nobody. Ain't nobody out here that I can do." You heard that before. Nobody out here. And then we said, "No, tell us that, and we'll come up with some names for you, and we'll tell you companies that do it." And then they come up with, well, well, here, you go talk to our main contractor and get the deal done, right? And we're like, nah, that ain't gonna work. Because if you just tell us to go contact this person's gonna blow us off. Because you gotta say, I'm gonna sit you in the room together, and I'm gonna give it my blessing, and that's what I want you to do. That's the way it works.
And yes,
We know that.
we have been working with that, finding a way around forever. So, Mr. Branson, thank you for coming on the program. How can people find you out there?
Please go to our website, www.mmtconline.org. Once again, www.m as in Mary, TC online.org. And Mike, I really appreciate this time today, and I appreciate what you're doing in the community, because you're enlightening people. You're letting people know what's out there, and knowledge is power. We know that. We know that from the beginning of time. Knowledge has been power, and what you're doing is providing knowledge to our people.
Well, I appreciate it. And what you're doing, that's why, like I said, the best part about this is when I see somebody's doing something interesting and cool, I reach out, hey, because our people need to hear what's going on. So when you're ready to come down to Richmond, you want to do something there, please let me know. We'll make it happen.
Sounds good. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Now take care. One of Mike, I'd like to thank Mr. Robert Branson, MMTC. We'll talk to you soon now. Thanks.